Okay. GameStop turning into the Amazon of video games.
Amazon of video
Uh,
games. Okay.
the Amazon of video
Okay.
games. Able to trade in game discs for downloads. It's a little strange of a move for GameStop, but they definitely need something to pull themselves out of this rut they found themselves in, with the PC market growing as quickly as it has. It's
The
I,
Amazon of video games. Explain that to me.
okay. You can so something that I use that Amazon does, is their trade-in feature where you can
Hmm.
trade in items and get other items out of it. So I'm assuming that, yeah, you can trade in physical copies of games and then get a download card for something.
Okay.
I was trying to come up with something, and I'm not good at on the spot
Gotcha.
things.
Um, so yeah, I mean, so
It's
GameStop's like big stance on this is that, oh, like consumers would rather have like a disc that they can like keep with them, because then they know that they can sell the disc later on, and if they don't want the game anymore, they can make a profit from it, which kind of plays into the hands of GameStop, because who are you going to sell your game discs to? GameStop. So as bad of a
yeah.
deal as that is, selling it to them, at least you're getting some money back for a game you don't want. But um, what do you prefer?
Yeah.
Like a disc, or like a code?
Recently I moved to Steam, so it's all irrelevant because you can't really get discs from Steam
Mm,
to the best of my knowledge. Um, I prefer having the physical media
yeah.
just because then you can transfer it from console to console to console.
Right.
Um, I haven't had a console in a while, but say my brothers want to, say the Xbox 2 comes out,
Mm,
because that, I don't know, maybe that's the next name of the console, and Xbox 360 games are still compatible. Well, because we still have the discs, we can move it to the Xbox 2 or whatever they want to call it. I think that's just invaluable
mm-hmm.
to games and increases their longevity quite a bit, especially when consoles are only updated every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. Well, okay. So to start off, I completely agree. I'd rather keep the actual disc with me than have to rely on a code, because I just feel like a code is a lot easier to lose. And I mean, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that there is a way where you can deactivate a game off of like one computer and then try to
Mm-hmm.
get onto another. But I mean, computer regardless. I guess we're talking about consoles here, but other than that, but like I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because I guess this is something that I've run into when my Xbox broke several months
Mm-hmm.
ago. Um, they gave me a new one, and I had everything. I had a few games. I had most games that were just online based, so I just re-downloaded
Mm-hmm.
them. I had a couple that were like disc based, but you go to put in the disc and you have like a 40 gig download anyway. So it's like, well,
Yeah, that,
come on.
yeah. Most of the consoles I have uh, experience with are older
Yeah.
consoles, like the GameCube,
Right, right, right.
which is still fantastic. The Xbox 360 and the Xbox
Mm-hmm.
One. The Xbox One I played maybe 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
and the downloads that took place, they took forever because our internet was not so good at my house.
Right.
Um, but like, I don't know. The I always think of the access codes as one-time use
Mm-hmm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
um, because I mean that's how they are on Steam. That's how they are in a lot of
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
And I would be concerned that those codes that you'd be getting would only be for that game once.
Right.
Whereas if you had a game that had a disc, maybe you could only use the online access code
Mm-hmm.
once. So you move your game from Xbox 360 to Xbox One, and you use the online code for Xbox 360. Well, you can still play the offline stuff
Right.
because you have the physical media.
Right.
So I think it's important to have the game itself, because if you're just accessing, an online thing that ends up downloading it every time, then say that company goes up in smoke, you have no option to try to play that game again
Yeah. Yep.
because you're never going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably just us being old and
Mm.
wanting to actually have a disc around. Like I remember the days when you had to jeez, what was it? Like you I don't know if you ever had one, but I had like a PlayStation 2, and every
Mm-hmm.
time you bought like a game, it would come in that box that had like a memory card holder and would also hold the disc. So you could
Yep.
like stick everything in one box and then go to a friend's
Mm-hmm.
house and like play with them.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
fantastic.
back in the
Um,
old days.
yeah, or like the multi CD, multi cartridge games
Mhm.
that you'd have to like swap in between
Yeah,
levels.
yeah, yeah.
Because memory back then, or storage back then, you might have, I think like 8 gigs,
Mhm.
16 gigs was like the max size for GameCube storage
Yeah.
devices. It was freaking crazy how small these things were, but the games were still fantastic. I still spent tons and tons of hours on them. It was just a really enjoyable experience to be
Yeah.
able to like move the games around.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not. I don't know. There are times when just having like a promotional code can be nice, but I don't think it should be for an entire game. I think it should be for some type of like online content, like you were saying, and then be able
Hmm.
to still play the game regardless. But oh well.
Yeah, yeah, this whole physical media thing, I know it's going out of vogue very, very quickly,
Hmm.
because everything's online. I'm just concerned about when that thing gets taken offline, what happens to all the people that
Right.
have it. So say Steam, for whatever reason, just dies, completely
Hmm.
dies. Everyone that has spent any amount of money on Steam will lose that money completely unless Steam does some like mass mass upload of all of the games that they have and then downloads them to everyone who bought them.
Right. It's just limited to the server of whatever company. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna go by the wayside, the hardware having a disc around, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I think physical media will stay around for say audio things because I know like the very hardcore, very official audiophiles, they only listen to their records and their CDs because those are the best means of transferring media because that is the media. I don't know. It's some of those people are just full of hooey in my opinion, but if that's how they want to ingest their music, then go for it.
yeah.
And maybe there is like a tangible benefit um, to having like the record or whatever, but
Right. Right.
not sure.
All right. So next up, there's the patent wars continue with Apple and Samsung continuing to try and get as much money from each other as possible, which kind of sucks, but
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah, this is kind of an old topic. Not old topic, but
recurring.
more of yeah. It's an old old suit that was filed a while ago. It was just for reference. It was off the Galaxy S2 and the Note 2. So we're on the S6.
Yeah.
So it's at least 4 or 5 years. Um, Essentially, it was about the swipe to unlock feature and the autocorrect
Mhm.
feature, I think. Um, so Apple ended up winning, but I can't see this really affecting anything since Android has changed their unlocking measures, and most people use SwiftKey on Android stuff anyway. So it's interesting, but it's not entirely relevant. I can't see it affecting anything that Samsung will do in the future, or Apple for that matter. Um, they constantly fight back and forth, so nah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Apple had a patent war against Google at one point in time,
Yeah.
um, and I don't understand it. I mean, the whole swipe to unlock, it just seems kind of stupid. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the I think there was another patent war about like, geez, it was like the rubber banding effect. So like whenever you like
Mm-hmm.
refresh or like get to a bottom of a page on an iPhone, it like rubber bands
Yeah.
back up.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was so stupid because like I guess Google at one point was doing something similar, like back in like
Hmm.
the Eclair days, Eclair and Donut days before.
God, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was years and years ago. Um,
Hmm.
it was so stupid. I
Yeah.
just think as far as an interface goes, as long as it's not like a blatant ripoff of the exact interface, who the hell cares? It's
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. If people can get over the Thermal Take Case Labs or Thermal Take Swift Tech, like that whole thing that went on, I think that this should be fairly like easy. I mean, it was only 120 million, which for Samsung is like a drop in the bucket. It's not that significant at all compared to what they make on a regular basis. So
Agreed.
it might affect things, it might not. My guess is not.
Yeah.
More of a couple quick topics, but
Yeah.
we wanted to cover them nonetheless because it might change things, but it probably won't.
Yeah. Life moves on.